What's up, guys? I'm Tyler Hosley, your favorite Floridian new metal and pop punk vinyl collector.
I'm Dave Gray, and this week I learned that some things are eternal, but mostly just pain. Just pain.
I'm Kevin Matthews, Scottish film fan living in England, and this week I learned that, well, pretty much the same as Dave, really, but maybe in different ways. Might not be all the physical pain that often accompanies our aging, but a lot of brain and heart pain, usually from Tyler, actually. And this is Raiders of a Podcast. Yay!
Yay!
I had a good week. I had a very good week, actually. There's not bad there, as there often is at this time of year with the cheesy movies I watch, but there was a lot of good. And because I watch things ahead of schedule, because I'm doing my blogging, because we're podcasting, because we're very, very busy people, I'm kind of near the very end of my cheesy Christmas viewings. That's done. So I can just fit in the cheesy Christmas stuff that I love, you know? The Muppets Christmas Carol will be watched at some point, obviously. It's a Wonderful Life, obviously. And this evening did a double bill of Die Hard and Die Hard 2. And that's fun. Now, I would never, unless just joking about, say to someone, oh, let's watch a good Christmas movie tonight and put on Die Hard. But I will absolutely put forward all the evidence to show that it's a great action movie and counts as a Christmas movie. And then when people say, oh, such and such has got a tree in it, that's a Christmas movie then. I'm like, no, you're talking nonsense. But Die Hard has lots of things around the plotting, in the script, in the soundtrack choices, and everything it does that lines up nicely with Christmas. And then Die Hard 2 has snow in it, and I watched it with Vicky, and I said, I've not seen this for a while. I think some people try and call this a Christmas movie, but I don't recall it being very Christmassy. And Die Hard 2 is definitely not a Christmas movie. Just there's snow in it. It is set around Christmas, but Christmas doesn't really figure into the plot in a big way.
Have I already told you my problem with Die Hard 2?
I mean, how long have we got, Dave? How long have we got?
No, this is something that it's a personal thing, because I live in the DC Metro, right?
All right, okay.
And it's set at Dulles Airport, where Dulles that's the big. So there's 3 airports here that, there's Reagan, which is basically just flights around the U.S. There's BWI, Baltimore Washington International, which has some to Europe, but mostly around the U.S. And then there's Dulles, and Dulles is the main hub for international flights.
Mm-hmm.
And Dulles, you see the outside like once or twice in the movie, but they didn't shoot there because Dulles itself is a really cool fucking airport where instead of going to the different terminals and walking down a gangway to get into the planes, they have what they call the people movers. And essentially, you remember the Jawas thing from Star Wars?
Mm-hmm.
They're those. The mobile lounges, they're giant Jawa movers that are it's like an airport lounge on wheels that just drives around and lifts up to the plane. That can be, like a half mile from the terminal. And they're awesome. And Die Hard 2 doesn't use them. And they're like, oh, we're at Dulles. No, you're fucking not. Fuck you. The people mover is twice as cool as anything in fucking Die Hard 2. I said it. You could have had a fucking awesome shootout in a mobile lounge, but no. You fucked up.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Like that. I mean, the best thing about Die Hard 2 is almost every scene has you going, oh, I know them from something else. Oh, I know them from 50 other movies. Oh, I know. Like we watched it, William Sadler pops up and Vicky said, is that him from the Terminator movies? And I went, no, that's William Sadler. He played Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I always forget what else he's in. Every time you ask me, I say he played Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. You say I've not watched the Bill and Ted movies. This is how our conversation goes ad infinitum.
How the fuck has she not? No. How have you allowed that travesty to continue, man? You've got to at
Because
least make her watch Excellent Adventure by now. You have been
you
together
won't,
too long to have any excuse. This isn't on Vicky.
you
This is
won't,
on you.
you won't like it. She won't like it, Dave. And
How
then I'll just be sitting there sad that she
is
don't
she a
like it.
human with a sense of humor?
Not a good one.
Oh, well, then I'm sorry. No, my bad, Vicky.
I was genuinely relieved that she enjoyed Die Hard. But anyway, I said, yeah, about William Sadler. And then 5 seconds later, I'm like, oh, that's Robert Patrick there. He was in Terminator 2. So it is chock full of some great faces, but it's, I give it a Kevin 7, but the original is just a classic. And whenever I rewatch it, I forget how good it all is. The script is brilliant, but some of the shots are just gorgeous. The camera work's great, from laying out the geography of the building to just shots of things happening that are done in a really stylish, gorgeous way, but without being overly edited and flashed through a grinder Michael Bay style. It's so good, so good, and I love it as a action movie you can watch all year round, but also call a Christmas movie. But as I say, I wouldn't, I get that people would go for Christmassy Christmas movies ahead of it, but it definitely counts, the first one. Other things I watched Christmassy related were the I think it was just called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. And it's a story that's been filmed before. I think maybe
it was a TV movie in the
century.
70s, maybe the late 80s.
Oh, was it 70s?
I
For
think
some
so,
reason,
but
I thought early 2000s.
There might be an early 2000s version. I just know the 80s version.
But it's your, it was okay. It's your standard thing. So Judy Greer is the mother of this family unit, and she ends up running the Christmas pageant that's usually run by this quite stern-looking woman who's had everything going the same for years and years and years. And then when Judy Greer is running it, the small town family of slightly feral kids wants to get involved, and everyone thinks it will go horribly wrong, of course, and they lose sight of the true meaning of Christmas. I thought it was decent. It was quite sweet, quite nice. I just wish it had been a slightly better mix, because I was hoping it would be a bit kind of funnier as well, rather than just leaning into the sweetness and heavy-handedness really of the message. But it was good for a message movie for this time of year. Not a film, but we did binge Black Doves on Netflix, and I mention that because there's every chance Dave will have seen one or two clips and be ready to rage about it.
I watched half of it, so I'm ready to engage.
Wow. I enjoyed it. I know it's tosh. I know, quite a lot of it feels like a gender-flipped Killing Eve, but it's not as good or smart as Killing Eve. But I just enjoyed. I enjoyed the fact that it was silly and enjoyable for most of it, and then by the end, it definitely tips right into the ridiculous. But you're sort of in it by then because you enjoy the interactions between Knightley and Ben Whishaw as well in it. So Keira Knightley she's like the wife of this government minister.
She is the wife of the Department of Defense the defense minister.
Yeah, and manages to really effectively have this double life.
I have fucking thoughts.
I mean, it's like while you watch it, if you think about any moment for more than 2 seconds, you're like, this whole thing's nonsense, get off. But if you just go with it, Knightley and Whishaw are good together, and Whishaw is really good with everyone else around him. Like I would say he's the best part in it. But there was also a couple of really good supporting players. I don't know their names. There's the young women who played other assassins. They were a lot of fun. And
They were the only good thing in it. The only good thing in it.
I did like. Did you see any scenes with Wishaw's partner, Michael, played by Amari
Yes,
Doug?
I did, and he was boring and pointless.
Well,
So was
I liked
Wishaw.
him.
I like Wishaw, but he was terrible in it. He just had this smug fucking look, and he needed to be drowned after 10 minutes.
I mean, I
So
can
did
see
they ever
why
tell
you
you what
would
country
say
they
that.
were working for? Because bullshit that we're freelance bullshit. They're either Russia or they're China. Who the fuck are they? You
Yeah,
gotta
they
be
wouldn't
fucking
commit.
brain
Yeah,
damaged to
no,
not realize that. So first off, we got a bunch of characters who are dumb as dirt. Second, all the action scenes are boring as fuck. I should feel tension when they get attacked. Wishaw and his boyfriend get attacked in flashback, and I fucking don't. I don't fucking care. And that's the problem ultimately. There's no reason to care about any of it. The action scenes are shit. I enjoyed the two assassins because they were fucking hilarious, but the rest was smug bullshit. No one involved should be allowed to work again. Just because you got a fucking English accent doesn't make it good.
I'm glad I brought that up now. That was smart. I don't know. It works for me, but I've got other stuff that I want to see that will surely be better or more polished. But I couldn't bring myself to watch Eddie Redmayne yet in Dare the Jackal, and that'll be coming up as well. And
No,
you'll be
that
able
sucks
to rant
too.
about that as well.
Redmayne is atrocious. How does that man still have a career except he has a fucking accent and rich family members? Because he's terrible.
That's it. That's the only reason he has a career.
They gave him a second season, so he gets to be shitty again.
Yeah, I mean, Black Dove's got a second season, Dave.
Yeah, I know. Everything gets a fucking second season. Everything now. Except if it's good. If it's actually good, it gets canceled.
What else did I watch? Heretic. I finally watched Heretic, which is I'm going to say it was quite a praised, maybe celebrated horror movie from this year with Hugh Grant.
Really? Everybody I know said the same thing. They all said
it
started well and then it became total shit. I
thought I'd seen general sort of good reviews of it, but I hadn't gone in.
People said they love Hugh Grant, and that was the best thing anyone said. Well, yeah, I mean, how do you not love Hugh Grant?
Well, he is a sinister gentleman who is visited by two Mormons going door to door. We're going to have a conversation with them. I would definitely say that the
door-to-door Mormons deserve to die. I agree.
I would definitely say that the first half works better than the second half, and there is there's an element of the finale that I really disliked, and it's frustrating in that I was also kind of relieved it didn't go to an obvious place that I thought it was going to, but it still seemed quite obvious where it ended up and just really underwhelming by the very end. But there's still a lot to enjoy there. And yes, most of that is because of Hugh Grant. Oh, and one more thing is a double bill, basically. I don't think I mentioned this last week. I don't think I'd seen them yet. I double billed the Adult Swim Yule-log movies. Have you guys watched those?
I mean, when they were new and I was young and dinosaurs still roamed the earth.
One was a couple of years ago. I thought one was just this year.
I have no idea. I thought they were older than
that. Like Adult Swim Yule-log 2 branching out, I'm sure it was just this year. Because that was actually easier to get because of the VPN and the Adult Swim site. Yeah, I didn't really like it. See, I actually thought the premise was going to be you see this Yule-log fire happening, and then people come to shot. And I actually did think everything happened just clipped within the frame, if you know what I mean, which would have arguably been a bolder experiment for that. But moving out from just the log as the focus of the camera allows you to then get a fully fleshed out movie. And as bonkers as it gets, it's also just like really good and kind of takes you into the full waters of bonkersness by varying degrees.
Well, they're made by
But-
Casper Kelly. I really like him.
Yes,
I don't know what Casper Kelly is. I'm sorry, Casper.
It's a guy, because I heard him talking on the Movies That Made Me podcast the other week.
Ah.
So I know that helps with that. I mean, I was a big fan of Too Many Cooks. I can't recall other stuff he's done. Did he help design the Cheddar Goblin? Or did he film those adverts?
Yeah, he did. He had something to do with those, and I don't remember exactly what. He also created very short tracks, which is probably the worst thing he's done. So don't look those up.
Right. Okay. Well, the good thing about Adult Swim Yolog 2 branching out is that it also works as an even better spoof of cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies. Even the lighting and the look of certain scenes are done that way, and the main character will actually step back into an area of tension, and it'll change the whole look and feel of a scene. And it's very smartly done and very funny and gets wild. And funnily enough, the third act feels not entirely dissimilar to a big horror hit from this year. So that was an unexpected treat. But I like that a lot. The double bill is just, I mean, it's so fantastic. And I'm appreciative of the way that Kelly just leads you in by varying degrees. And then suddenly, when you think about what you've just watched, you're like, that was absolutely mental. But while you've been watching it, it's not as if you're not thinking it's mental while it's on, but you're thinking it's just moved nicely through and developed, and you've just enjoyed it all. But never try and describe any of the plot to other people, because they'll give you a funny look and shuffle away from you. Much like when I try and describe some of Tyler's movies that he makes us watch. I mean, Vicky sees me typing in effed up movies nowadays, Tyler, and I'm just like, yeah, it's Tyler.
I mean, yeah, that's the only excuse is Tyler.
That was me.
You know what Casper Kelly has also done? That's a lot of fun.
No.
I just thought of this: the Scooby-Doo project. Did you ever see that?
No.
Cartoon Network did and it was part of the promotion for Blair Witch. It was a Scooby-Doo parody of it. I think it came out, 99. I think it came out in 99 also. It was fun. It was fun. That's all. I think that's the last thing Scott Ines did is Shaggy and Scooby-Doo before the current guys came in and took over, including one of Tyler's all-time favorite human beings, despite I think he's only stalked him. But I could be wrong. Maybe you have gotten in the same bed with an awake Matthew Lillard, but I could be wrong. So I didn't watch too many movies this week. I did watch a lot of TV, and I'll talk about as much as I can because I don't have much to say about the movies. That's why I padded out before, and I'm sorry if that frustrated anyone out there. You know what I watched this week? I watched Mother Krampus 2, Sleigh Ride. Have you seen that, Kevin?
I'm going to look that up right now, Dave, because there are that many films with Krampus in the title that I've seen.
Yeah.
I've not seen Mother Krampus 2 Sleigh Ride. I have seen Mother Krampus, which I gave 2 out of 10.
Yeah, you lucky bastard, because I haven't seen the first one. I bought 2 because it was at Big Lots, who were going out of business, and I could get it for like $1, and I went, fuck yeah, let's buy this. And it was not good.
No.
I kind of wish I hadn't watched it. But I did, and here I am, filled with remorse. What else did I watch? I did watch something excellent. I watched Exuma. Have you guys seen that one?
I haven't.
It's so good, Kevin. Did you see it?
Oh, Exuma.
Yes.
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, it is excellent. It is a South Korean horror film written and directed by Jang Jae-hyun. I'm so sorry I fucked that up. Who also made The Priest back in 2015 and Sava, The Sixth Finger, which is both are really worth checking out. And it is a mystery occult film that has like it plays with the tropes of haunted houses and exorcisms and mummy movies, and it is fan-fucking-tastic. I loved every minute of it. I get that it's not for everybody. It does have a pretty slow pace, and it is more of an occult mystery than an outright horror film. But it is fantastic. The cast is really good. The story is widespread and well thought out. I loved it. I thought it was excellent, and it's on Shudder here in the States. So I think it is in the UK also. I couldn't swear to that though. I should have checked. It is worth checking out. It is so fucking good. It really makes I'll take any chance I can to shit on Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are abusive to the people they pretended to help, drummed up media circuses, and Ed groomed and raped children. And Lorraine covered it up for decades to the point where she actually, the contract to continue that franchise says that they can never, ever mention the fact that Ed is a child raping criminal. Ed Warren was a child raping criminal, by the way. I mean, just in case you didn't know. So it's takes those shitty movies and does everything they do, but like a bajillion times better with better cast. And I like the 2 leads from the Conjuring series. I do. I think they're both excellent performers who deserve better careers with better movies. But instead, they're making this shit and propping up a rapist, child grooming predator, and his battered spouse who enabled him for decades. So, I mean, does that say something about them as human beings? I don't know. I don't judge. If you do, that's up to you. And if you do, please let me know, because I'm curious. If you don't, that's fine. Keep that to yourself. I don't care if you don't.
I've got to say, Dave, unfortunately, we don't have Exuma on UK Shudder.
Oh, that's so sad, because it's super realistic. It's detailed as hell. The Korean shamanism and the traditional practices are deeply fascinating. It is excellent, and you should check it out. I hope it's streaming somewhere there, because it is really, really worth looking up. Even if you might have to try alternate methods. Wink. I also watched multiple versions of Black Christmas. Apparently, I believe it's the 50th anniversary of the original this year. And I think the original is one of the all-time great slashers. I love it. I love the cast. I love how it's shot. I love the ending, which is one of the most depressingly downbeat endings of any horror film ever made. Andrea Martin, Olivia Hussey are both fantastic. Keir Dullea, who I think is one of the all-time great movie psychos and completely and totally not given the proper due for his crazier roles. We did Bunny Lake is Missing, 2 years ago? And that's a great one. He is great in it. He is great in this. And of course, I adore Margot Kidder and everything, and she's fantastic. John Saxon is always good. It is a great one, and if you haven't seen it, you should see it. I followed that up with the remake. The remake is from I was talking about these off the top of my head, and I just brain farted on when the first remake was.
2006.
2006?
Yeah.
The remake is from 2006, and it's okay, I guess. I mean it's okay. Andrea Martin comes back. I think the young cast in that one, which is Katie Cassidy, Michelle Trachtenberg, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Lacey Chablet, and Kristen Cloak, I think. I'm probably forgetting someone. I'm sorry if I am. Do the best they can. It's a bad script from a director who just doesn't have anything interesting to do with it. And it's directed by Glenn Morgan, who worked on the X-Files with James Wong. They also did
James Wong, yeah.
Yeah, Space and Above and Beyond, and they both involved with the Final Destination movies, or just Wong?
I think both wrote.
Okay, the first one.
I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
I forget who did what, because one of them also did the remake of Willard, didn't
that was
Glenn Morgan.
Yeah, that was Morgan.
I want to say Morgan, yeah.
Yeah, it's because of the Willard remake did okay that he was allowed to remake Black Christmas, and his Black Christmas remake is, I mean, it's okay. I think the problem with it is, like, doesn't really do anything better than the original. There's not much creativity or visuals worth watching. It's just kind of there. It's very much just, here's a remake because remakes are big right now.
Katie Cassidy's a really good final girl, though. I really like her in that.
Yeah, I hate Arrow. I think it's one of the worst things ever put on TV, but I like Katie Cassidy. She should have had a better career.
She should have been the lead in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Would have greatly approved that movie.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, actually. I completely agree with that. Yeah, she should have a better career, but she doesn't. So, take that as you will. And I watched the second remake from Sophia Takal, and I don't want to talk about it because I don't really have much to say. It just kind of sucks, which is a shame because, like, you could make something good with what they got, but instead they went really lazy and they half-assed it all.
Wow, that was such a missed opportunity.
It was the biggest.
Still pisses me off.
Yeah, it was the biggest missed opportunity, and I mean, wasn't it the first feature from Blumhouse directed by a woman?
It was,
and they just totally dropped the fucking ball, and they dropped the ball in every way possible, which I think it's a shame. I get that they were under a really tight time crunch. I think they literally the project. They were hired in June, and it was in the theaters in December. I get that's impossible. So, like, I think they filmed like less than a month after they signed and thought it up. So, like, given that limitation, I'm going to be really fair, and I think, given the amount of time they were given to make it, they did the best they could. But it's not good. It doesn't do anything well. I can't say anything nice about it. They tried, so I guess there's that. It's just not sharp, and it's not very feminist either. It's mostly just familiar pulp with making eyes at faux feminism instead of being actually feminist. It's just it feels like 20-year-old girl bossness, which is more pandering than actually empowering. But whatever. It's just there's no suspense or atmosphere or dramatic tension. And Cary Elwes is just terrible. Like, I love The Princess Bride, so part of me will always love Cary Elwes, but he's just fucking bad. And the rest, I've been watching some TV. I keep watching Ranma One Half, the new Netflix version, and if you haven't seen it, it is an absolute blast. 3 of the 4 things I'm about to talk about are anime, so I'm sorry in advance if you don't like that. If you don't mind anime and you want to watch something fun with a lot of action, the new Ranma 1/2 is great. The old Ranma 1/2 is still great. One doesn't replace the other, but it's a really nice updated visual interpretation. The art style is fantastic, especially during the fight scenes when it goes into a comic booky pop art. It is excellent. It's fun. It's fast. It's totally worth looking up and watching. Also been watching Dan to Dan on Netflix, which if you haven't been watching it, you should. Especially you, Tyler. You will fucking love it. It's about ghosts and aliens and missing balls. And there's a evil ghost voiced by Rita Repulsa among the main cast. It is fantastic. I also rewatched one of my favorite animes, which is not for everyone because it is about adults in love at work, called I'm going to fuck this up. I'm sorry. Wotakoi. Love is Hard for Otaku. It's a lot of fun. It's about 4 adult geeks finding their way through relationships. 2 men, 2 women. They're cute. I love 3 of the 4 of them, and the one I dislike is a bastard, but he might speak to someone else. So, that's fine. And I capped off my week watching the Amazon series Secret Level, which is a bunch of short films inspired by video games from Tim Miller, the guy who created Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. He also directed all 3 of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies and the first Deadpool. And like Love, Death, and Robots, it's a mixed bag, but when it's good, it's really good. A lot of the episodes are written by TJ Petty. If you remember TJ Petty, he was a bit of a splash on the horror scene in the early to mid 2000s. He did The Burrowers and S&M Man, which I really like. S&M Man. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it being really good. Or S. Amberstam Man, however you say it. There are some issues with it. Like, there's several that feel like ads for games that just aren't great. The Pac-Man episode was excellent, and then immediately after I saw that, they released a trailer for a new Pac-Man game that is just like the episode, which is still a great episode, but it kind of cuts the it really cuts the what made it cool. Although, don't get me wrong, I am still down for a Pac-Man inspired Metroidvania. I'm going to play Shadow Labyrinth, but it does undermine the episode. The rest of the episodes are, some of them are great. The Sifu episode is really good. New World, which has Schwarzenegger voicing the lead character, is a lot of fun. The Unreal Tournament episode is excellent. The Warhammer 40K episode is excellent. The Armored Core episode is Keanu Reeves, and who doesn't like Keanu in mechs? The Outer Worlds episode is perfect. Did you guys play the Outer Worlds?
I played Outer Worlds.
No.
I fucking loved Outer Worlds.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and the episode gets it spot on. Like, it just gets that world and the feeling and the tone. That episode was actually written by Heather Ann Campbell, who is a comedian, used to work on Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, and Whose Line Is It Anyway? But it really gets it right. There's a Mega Man episode, which is excellent, but it's only 5 minutes long. So it just leaves you going like, why the fuck wasn't this twice the length? The episode on Exodus is excellent. And I guess that's all the really good ones. And the rest are like a scale of, that was okay to, oh my god, why won't this fucking end? It's interminably painful, and the longest episode in the fucking season. But if you like games, you want to watch something kind of okay, it is worth your time. They just announced the 2nd season already. So that's me. I watched a lot of TV shit.
The Unreal Tournament sold me because I fucking love Unreal Tournament.
The Unreal episode is excellent. It was one of my favorites by far.
I gotta watch it. I fucking love that game. I played that game so many hours when I was a kid. oh my god, the Morpheus stage where you can like there's like no gravity and you get the Redeemer gun. Yeah, that game was fucking amazing.
You'll really like the Exodus episode. That is so Tyler. It's all space and weird things with quantum travel, time distillation. Yeah, you'll dig that one.
Yeah, I'm so down. I'm gonna watch that soon, actually. So because the new Nosferatu movie from Robert Eggers is dropping in a couple days, actually, Christmas. I've been watching a lot of vampire stuff. I rewatched the 1922 Nosferatu, which is a fucking silent movie classic. Count Orlok is still one of the absolute best vampire designs ever. It's creepy. It's just Max Schreck fucking nails it. That scene where he's like, you see his silhouette like creeping down the stairs is still perfect. Just what a perfect fucking silent movie. I followed that up with 1979 Warner Herzog version. I absolutely love that movie. It's fucking gorgeous, and Klaus Kinski is amazing as Dracula in that. Just so good. And I watched Daybreakers, which I've always been a big fan of. I really like those directors, the two brothers, the Spierig brothers. Is that how you say that? Spierig? I think that's how you say that.
Yeah,
But
I think so.
I really like them. This is my favorite of their stuff. I love Daybreakers. I think it's a really good science fiction vampire movie, and it looks really cool visually.
Wait, you didn't watch Shadow of the Vampire?
No, I was saving Shadow of the Vampire.
Oh, okay.
Here,
I'm just checking. All right, rock on. No,
Yeah,
that's an
I was
awesome
saving,
call. It's been on my list too. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I was saving that for the podcast. That movie needs to be talked about in depth on this show because that movie is awesome. But yeah, Daybreakers. I'm a big fan of that one. I always thought it was like crazy underrated. Like nobody saw that movie when it came out, and I thought it was awesome. And besides that, I watched. It just dropped on Netflix. I think it was just in the theater a couple months ago. Actually, I watched that movie Afraid, which is the new Blumhouse evil AI movie with John Cho and Catherine Waterston. The movie itself is fine. It's generic but watchable. The last 10 minutes are not fine. It's rushed. It makes no sense. It took a perfectly mediocre, okay little movie and just made it a waste of fucking time. Yeah, the ending sucks. The ending is terrible. And the cast is fine. Like John Cho and Catherine Waterston are fine in it. And it's one of the better evil AI movies I've seen. It's generic, but it's watchable. Just, oh my God, the ending just ruined it. Just totally ruined it. The movie's only an hour and like 15 minutes. So I guess it's not a complete waste of time. Just you'll waste an hour. But like I said, I'm with Dave on Night Swim. I don't think that's anywhere near the worst Blumhouse movie, like recent Blumhouse movie. I kind of like Night Swim, and I thought Afraid was going to go in that category with being unfairly hated, just next to Night Swim. And I see why it's hated. It's not great. The ending sucks, but the movie is not the worst thing ever. So if you have an hour and 15 minutes to kill, check it out. And that's me.
I mean, you're both wrong on Night Swim. It was just so
not.
dull.
You're wrong.
So dull.
You didn't understand the spirit of it, and you're lying to cover for yourself, and that's fine. You can be wrong, Kevin. I'm wrong sometimes. I mean, it's rare.
In the past year, Dave, I preferred a film that came from the mind of John Krasinski.
Yeah, no, that's just you being sick. Yeah. That's just more evidence of you being wrong. Wrong. This week, we watched the 2012 documentary of Dolls and Murder and the 2022 Filipino psychological comedy drama film Leonor Will Never Die. I really want to talk about one of these. But it's my week, so I can't. Kevin, would you like to pick a movie and tell us about it?
Sure. I will go for your pick, Dave, of Dolls and Murder.
Yeah, that's not the one I wanted to talk about, but okay.
Well, then you get to lead the conversation on the next one, so I've done you a massive favor.
Done me a solid, you're right.
This is a documentary about it starts off being about someone who created what are
Francis Glessner Lee.
Dollhouse crime scenes. Yeah, Francis Glessner Lee created dollhouse crime scenes, which are then used to help trained detectives, help people look around crime scenes and just start like getting into that mindset and knowing what to look for and who to look for. So that is like that's an interesting story. There's narration from John Waters. I'm not familiar with the director here. As far as I'm aware, I didn't dig into her filmography though, Susan Marks. I was familiar with the idea of the dollhouse crime scene because of what comes up later. I was familiar with John Waters as a narrator, so I thought, yeah, this is good. There are some moments that mention the I guess it's kind of famous, the body farm.
Yeah, there's a couple around the world.
Site. Yeah, but you know, when someone mentions that term now, it's quite you get this morbid fascination about it, and I want to see a little bit of that. So there's a good story here, and the good seed of a story here. With those two things alone, like unless I zoned out, I don't think we really got a. I kind of would have liked to get an idea of, you know, who came up with the idea of a body farm and how did they start planning it, and then say to other people.
They did mention that in passing. It's anthropologist William M. Bass in 1981 founded it, but they give like 3 seconds to it.
Yeah, but if anything, that to me feels like a whole movie's worth. You know, go to local council. Well, I've got this quite large back garden.
Well, it's part of the University of Tennessee.
What I'd like to do, no, for my purposes, Dave,
I'm just that's just you wanting to kill your neighbors, dude. That is totally different.
But then just seeing the conversation with local councillors and that, they're like, right, so you want to ditch bodies in your background? And then you're like, well, no, the police can donate the bodies if you like, and we'll see if they decompose. And if that wasn't a known thing at the time, everybody would just be like, sorry, what? Why do you want maggots to come up and you want to see the insects on these dead bodies? I think that would be great. I think there should be a movie done about that, about this one person convincing others of how to develop learning in forensic anthropology. I think that would be great.
There is a body farm in the UK, but it's not like some of the others, because the others use human bodies. In the UK, the woman in charge of it, you might find this interesting because she's Scottish, is Susan Black, Baroness Black of Strom. She's against the use of human bodies in that. So in the UK, they only use pigs and other animals, but mostly pigs.
Wow, that's the official body farm, Dave. But
well, I mean, I assume you'd make yours official, at least to the council.
Well,
I mean, you don't have a very big plot. I mean, I've seen English gardens, and they're tiny.
As it's probably communal, upon, but it's not communal. It's not that bad.
Okay.
And we also have a shed.
I mean, if it was communal, I guess you could start killing your neighbors in the communal garden, slowly take over. But I'm not saying anyone should do that, except Kevin.
Bear in mind, I've gone on walks with Vicky, who keeps in her mind the slogan that she knows which plants are endangered, so if she ever kills me, she'll bury my body under them so they can't be dug up. I'm like, right, thanks for that extra information.
No, that's just the joy of dating a redhead.
Comforting. Yeah.
I mean, all my redhead exes talk just like that, too. I might have issues.
Yeah. Like, I wish I actually could have sat down with Vicky to watch this. Yeah, I watched this on my own. It's brief. Is it 70 minutes? Is it even 70 minutes?
Yeah,
I know it's not long.
If we don't count the credits, yeah, it's just about 70 minutes. It just clears the 60-minute requirement.
So I mean, Vicky has shelves of books about serial killers, and she loves her crime thrillers, and the Karen Rosie. She loves the Chris Carter book. She's got a lot of stuff that she's read through, and she loves like learning about the science behind these things and the just the process of going through everything. But I would say in a 70-minute documentary, this has, I might be exaggerating, but I'm going to say about 15, 20 minutes of actual good stuff in terms of stuff that feels like it's substantial enough and interesting enough to be fed to you, if you know what I mean. And that's a real shame, because really you could get all of this packed into something much shorter, and it would probably be a much more satisfying, quite dense experience, but you'd get all that info. What happens is it derails not too far into the documentary, and you get a lot of talk about CSI and the plot line of CSI that had the villain or the killer leaving the similar kinds of like dollhouse crime scenes. And that, I mean, look, I'm sorry to upset you in this video, but that is where I first saw these dollhouse crime scenes anyway. So that's why it was more interesting for me at the start, though, to be like, oh, these are a real thing. And having seen them in CSI, I just made the connection and thought, oh, that's interesting now to know where CSI got the idea from. But I did not need like a 20, 30-minute tangent into the land of CSI and them going through that storyline. And like they kept trying to keep it tied to obviously the main the main what you say MO of the documentary, but it just felt not good enough. It felt like a CSI TV show puff piece in the middle. And again, it's only 70 minutes, so there was actually a lot of time wasted on that. So I ended up not liking this. But like any good documentary will, I wanted to know more about the main parts of this that almost kind of bookend it. This is a bad documentary version that I didn't feel like I got enough of the good stuff that it should have been focusing on for longer. That's me.
I don't really have much to say about this one. I mean, the only thing this really had going for it was the John Waters narration, because John Waters is the fucking man. Otherwise, this was a slog. And it's barely about the nutshell studies of unexplained death. I mean, 30% of it, maybe. And that's fucking pushing it.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it's there, but most of the runtime, like, it felt like it was for law enforcement or a CSI forensics episode. I was waiting for fucking David Caruso to put on his sunglasses and the hood to start blasting. Didn't happen. Wish it did. But every time they had the murder scene all on screen, I was fairly engaged. And the little side quest involving the body farm was fairly interesting. I mean, there was some good stuff there, but it lost me when it just turned into unsolved mystery levels of forensic science. It was so fucking dull and boring. There definitely could be a really good documentary with this topic, but this one I thought just kind of sucked. It was just a total missed opportunity, and which is a shame, because like I said, there really could be a good documentary within this subject. It just wasn't here, unfortunately.
I am low key obsessed with the nutshell studies. I've seen them more than once in person. Most often they were displayed in the Renwick at the Renwick Gallery, which is part of the Smithsonian American Art Museum. Sets in 2017, and I went and I saw them repeatedly. They're brilliant. 1 inch to 1 foot recreations of actual crime scenes, actual scenes of death, and like the handmade details are just mind blowing. if you see a pack of cigarettes and it's a full pack, there are 20 little hand-rolled cigarettes with the right kind of tobacco in them. The socks are hand-knitted using needles to get the right size. Every bit is just carefully and meticulously crafted. They are brilliant works. They're works of art, most definitely. And they're some of the first forensic tools ever built. And they are just fantastic. Especially seeing them in person, which is rare. They usually live at the Baltimore coroner's office, and you can, or the medical examiner's office, and you can see them, but you got to jump through a lot of hoops. You got to have certain size groups, and you can't see all of them because they're, getting to be 100 years old, and they are not in the best shape for portability. But they are brilliant. And the documentary about them is shit. Absolute shit. First off, it glosses over Francis Glessner Lee, who is a fascinating human being, into just the most vague terms. There's some neat bits in it. The trip to the body farm is excellent, and the woman they're speaking to there, whose name I forgot to write down, I am so sorry, is really into her job and a real booster for it, and she gives fantastic little asides and barely used. John Waters does some amazing narration. And then they barely show you the dioramas he's talking about. There's some scenes of detectives using them for training that there's barely used. This is 25 minutes of solid documentary about interesting things. They even talk to staff at the Baltimore Medical Examiner's office and homicide detectives. And they're only used for like 2 minutes to stretch out the runtime. Every other fucking second is a moron producer and the man's a fucking moron from CSI. Dude is fucking brain dead and doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Because half of what he's saying is like, it's something like that. He doesn't even know why they're called the fucking nutshells, even though Lee herself, and it says all over shit about them that they're there because forensic evidence and investigation is to be used to convict the guilty, clear the innocent, and find the truth in a nutshell. That is the fucking reason they are called that. And he can't even get that right. Dude is a brain dead fuck nut. And they pair him with another brain dead fuck nut who teaches terrible fucking forensic courses at a shitty university and wrote a book about the CSI effect, but pretended that it was bad for prosecutors when the truth is the CSI effect is the second greatest tool ever used to get convictions, because people are convinced that forensics isn't just always right, it's a magic. That and, CSI effect and blood spatter and profiling are the three biggest lies sold to us just to get better convictions, because fucking forbid the cops do their goddamn jobs. But what the fuck ever. I hated this fucking movie. I hate the woman that fucking made it. It's an insult to the subject. It's an insult to the people involved who actually do their jobs. It's a waste of John Waters, and that alone should be a fucking crime, especially if you're in goddamn Baltimore. It's shit. To make it worse, this woman is making a second documentary on them, which is more of the fucking same, although the description on her website swears it'll be even more about fucking CSI. I get it. You're boning the producer. Stop making fucking documentaries to justify that. Fuck. I really got into that because I loved it. I loved them, and this was just a waste. I'm sorry. I got a little worked up. That leaves me to talk about Craig's pick this week. Leonor Will Never Die. Leonor is a retired screenwriter who, after having a large television dropped on her head, falls into a coma and finds herself in the action of her unfinished screenplay. Meanwhile, her son is desperately trying to find a way to connect with his mother before it's too late. This movie is the first feature by director. I'm so sorry, Ms. Escobar. I'm going to fuck up your name, and I feel really bad. Martika Ramirez Escobar. She wrote it, she directed it, And 80% of this is one of my favorite first-time watches of the year. Now, Tyler said, Run Bitch Run gets the best 70s exploitation homage ever. Bullshit. This movie is perfect when it's in that mode. I could take these scenes, show them to someone who is an expert on Filipino 70s cinema, and they would not fucking know it was new. It is pitch perfect and brilliant. The cast is excellent. The lead is played by the lead Leonor Reyes is played by Sheila Francisco, and she is fan-fucking-tastic. Her son is played by Rocky Samulbides. I'm so sorry for fucking up your name. Rocky Sambulides, I'm sorry, dude, is Ronaldo in the fantasy world, and he is excellent. The son is played by Bong Cabrera. I am so sorry. I am tired, and my tongue is just not working with these accents. As her son, Rudie, he is excellent. Everything about it is fan-fucking-tastic until the last 20 minutes when it shits on itself in the most twee, self-referential, masturbatory way possible, because it doesn't know how to end. So instead of just getting help and saying, hey, how do I end this? Our writer-director does the same thing that her character does, and that's shit on herself forever instead of getting help to deliver one of the dullest, wankiest, winky bullshit endings I have ever seen. It went from one of my favorite first-time watches, a fantastic entry into a fun genre, to being nearly intolerable. I will watch this again, and I will turn it off at an exact moment, because it's just fucking dumb. It just undermines itself so hard that it's depressing. It's too desperate to be creative and clever, and it's not. Instead, it just comes off as try hard, and it's a shame. I will watch this filmmaker's career with great interest, because I think there is a good voice in there that will come out given time. Tragically, that need to create and say something actually hurt their first feature. And it's a pity. I still encourage everybody to go see it. I really do. I think young filmmakers, especially young female filmmakers outside of the U.S., need more exposure, and they need their stuff watched, so the powers that be see that there's an interest in them. And this is an exciting, creative voice who just misstepped. And it's a shame, but I cannot wait to see what she does next.
You want to go or do you want me to go? Or you want to go, Kevin? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to go if that's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I generally agree with Dave, apart from probably the first 3/4 of the movie, in which I don't agree with them. I did find a lot to appreciate here in terms of, as Dave was saying, the recreation of certain types of films and how it was done. Like, I did like that, but I think the actual storytelling, I think it falls apart so much at the end because of how Dave has already explained it, and that is he's quite correct in that, and I agree with him there. But I also think it's a problem running through the film, and that Escobar is good at recreating a style, an aesthetic, but isn't good, for me, certainly isn't good enough at interweaving the main sort of points she wants to make. Like this, it would be a different kettle of fish altogether if this was just a film that was like other films that have just been presented as, you know, a found feature. Like the really good, God, what was the name of it? Was it Top Knot Detective?
Yeah.
That was that one, yeah. Which I think is really great at recreating old stuff or pretending to have this found footage and all that. Now, I'm not saying Leonor Will Never Die has to be that type of film. I'm just saying that's where Martika Ramirez Escobar gets things right, but she's wanting to frame it with something else, and I don't think that was like I didn't get anything else from this. So while the more entertaining middle section was playing out, I still wasn't getting the point of it. Apart from that push to sort of, you know, achieve your creative potential, to have faith in yourself, to keep going. Like, I did get that from it, but I thought there was something more that I was missing, because that felt too slight, and then the end was a bit too just navel gazing and yeah, pretentious and wank, really, is the only way I can sum it up. That just undercut everything else. So I'm left confused as to what the most important point that she wanted to make was. Because I got nothing. So all I could enjoy was the stuff that worked, in terms of feeling like, you know, recreated footage from yesteryear in a way. But the rest just didn't work for me. That's a shame. I would agree that this is a filmmaker to keep an eye out for, and like I certainly wouldn't dismiss them. There was nothing here that I hated. It was just, well, I mean, I really disliked the ending, but still, at least then you're watching someone, you know, make a strong choice and go for it. So we've discussed this many times before. We all admire people who are at least like trying to make something memorable, or trying to say something strongly enough, even if it's a misstep, if it's a fumble, a big swing and a miss. You know, we always say that we admire that more than somebody who's just coasting, or who doesn't have any conviction in their own abilities. So there is a lot to like here when you sort of get down to the elements that can be just dissected and examined. But I really don't know. I mean, did you get more from it, Dave, in terms of any message or commentary, other than the stuff about the, you know, the creative mindset push?
I think in the beginning they were making eyes at some things with the son relationship, but I don't think they totally landed it. Which is another reason why I feel the ending kind of fumbles it, because there's like they make eyes, like the dad still works in film, but it doesn't really, you know, you'd think he'd be a bit more, but whatever. It makes eyes at things. I think there's some things about relationship dynamics between generations and male, female, you know, sons and mothers that they got eyes on that they can't quite land.
Right. Okay. That would be, yeah. I mean, I would feel similar to that. There is maybe some other things there attached to cultural aspects that I maybe miss, but in terms of just what I could glean from it on the main level for me, it was definitely missing something, or felt like, yeah, there just wasn't enough being said through it. But that middle section was the most enjoyable part for what it got right. That's me.
The hater of joy has entered the chat. There's a theme for me this week, guys. I like the concept of both movies this week, not so much the execution. I kind of liked some things about this one, the process of grief and acceptance, the celebration of the love of cinema and the process of filmmaking itself. I actually really liked those themes a lot. And I love movies when they go meta. But there is a point when meta can go too meta, more meta than meta, and it just gets fucking obnoxious. And this movie does just that. The final act of this movie is awful, and it ruined almost everything good that came before it. And for whatever I did somewhat like, it's an obvious love letter to Filipino action movies. I haven't seen a lot of Filipino action movies, if any, if I'm being totally honest. But I get what it was doing, and I get what it was trying to say. But a love letter to an era that you're unfamiliar with isn't nearly as impactful as one that you are familiar with. So mileage will vary with the viewer on this one.
Wait, I need you to explain this to me. I know you very well.
Okay.
How have you not seen more 70s Filipino movies? They are so Tylerific.
I haven't seen a single one.
They are dude, like these movies are like tailor-made for you.
I've heard that in the past, and I've never actually sat down to watch one. I haven't seen a single one, unless I'm just totally blanking, which I don't think I am. I don't think I've actually seen one.
Oh, dude, you've got to. Like we are talking about just perfect for Tyler movies. A decade worth of them from a country that likes sleaze.
You're gonna have to give me like a list or something.
Oh,
I can actually sit down to watch them.
I'm gonna work on a list for you, brother. I'm gonna do that as soon as we are done here. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just surprised.
No, it's good. It's good. I was almost done anyway. So yeah, just give me a list and I will watch them. I promise. 100% will watch that shit. But yeah, I'm not gonna use me not seeing these movies as a negative, because it's not. The cast is good. It's well shot. It's stylish. It's silly. It's a little chaotic. I didn't really like the movie all that much, and it's way too fucking meta for its own good, but it's got some endearing shit in there. So I guess check it out. Maybe I'll like it more after I see a little bit more from this genre. So who knows? At the moment, though, I'm not a big fan of it. It's just kind of just middle of the road for me.
All right, it's time to pick one. So I'm going to let T go first, since it's obviously going to be like ripping off a toenail to have to say one is good or better. Let's phrase it this way. Which one do you think is the better film, Tyler?
Well, I wasn't completely 100% bored with Leonor Will Never Die, so I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I will also. I'll give it to Leonor Will Never Die. Like, I don't know if Tyler agrees, but I feel like we learned a bit more and found more passion in you talking about those nutshell crime scenes than most of that documentary.
Yeah, I decided, because the movie's a bad way to sell them, but I think they're excellent, so I decided to sell them myself. I hope I did. If you're interested, there is the website for the Renwick display is still online, and they're both 3D and VR scans of all of them, well, most of them. So if you're interested, Google the name of the exhibit was I believe Murder is Her Hobby. So Google that, or Google Nutshell Studies Renwick, and it should come up. They're really neat. They're definitely worth looking at, especially if you can do it in VR. Oh yeah, my pick is also Leonor Will Never Die. I totally forgot. I thought it was like implied, because I was not nice to the other one. Next week, we're celebrating the end of the year and the holidays with our special, where we all gave each other movies to harm ourselves with, because Craig will not be here for it because of personal stuff. We have reached out for someone else to pick a fourth movie. If they get back to us, we will update what that title is on our socials, so you can watch along. But the ones we are definitely covering, if you want to join in the pain, are Amateur Porn Star Killer 3. That was gifted to me. I could never guess who would pick Amateur Porn Star Killer 3. That's just so out of left field for all of us. Huh, Tyler?
A fucking mystery.
Totally.
We gotta get the crime scene investigators to fucking solve this case. The ones that did the documentary.
I have to talk to some fucking CSI producers about this shit.
Let's do it.
If there was a little doll diorama with that crime scene, I would just paint on the tiles. It was Tyler and everything.
Kevin was gifted Witchcraft 15 or 16. I didn't write down the number. Roseblood
15,
15. Awesome. And Tyler was given the life-destroying Life Aquatic. I do believe that will no, there's still one or two Anderson films we haven't covered yet after this. But this one will destroy both. Life Aquatic will destroy both of us, so I guess that works out.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Amateur Porn Star Killer 3 may be obvious about who gifted that to a certain person, but the gift that was given to me is somehow less shocking than me making you guys watch a movie with cum shots and facials. So, you know, it's just...
Yeah, I can assure you Life Aquatic was not me. I wouldn't do that to myself, let alone to you. I have lines. That is
I knew that wasn't Dave. I know me and Dave share a very similar dislike of Wes Anderson, so at least some kind of Wes Anderson.
Whoever picked Witchcraft 15 at least gave us some gratuitous nudity for the week. Not, I know that's got to be all over Amateur Porn Star Killer 3. At least there's some mildly enjoyable and viewable nudity as well.
Think of it like this. I mean, we will be covering the spectrum for the holidays, and it's a shame Craig isn't here because his was actually a kid's movie. But we are going with porn to softcore to adult film and it would have been a kid's movie, but, you know, the symmetry's a little broken, but it's almost there. Almost like we planned it. We didn't. That was just coincidence, but almost like we planned it. Wink.
We're on Instagram, Raiders_of_the_podcast. We're on Facebook, where I sometimes remember to post stuff on Wednesdays. We have a YouTube channel where you can like, subscribe, and comment on Kevin's awesome videos weekly. We have a Discord. We have a Blue Sky. And you can always email us at raidersthepodcast@gmail.com.
All right. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, guys. If you don't mind, because we never ask people to do this, I figure we might as well since the holidays are upon us. Please, like, subscribe, and share. If you're so inclined, leave a review. We love constructive and not constructive criticism because we have a praise and a shame kink. I'll talk to you next week.
See ya.